There's one thing that should be on everyone's list this holiday season: learning to be safe. Stay tuned as we talk about holiday safety on this week's edition of Welcome to Groton. Welcome to Groton. I'm Cindy Olsen, and today our topic is holiday safety. We have with us Chief Fusaro and Officer Savino. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having us, Cindy.
So this time of year, tis the season, right? Can you talk to us about the crime rate? Is it increased? Is it a bigger problem for you?
Well, I think there's different crimes that are more frequent during the holiday season. Certainly larcenies, and one of the things that Officer Savino is going to talk about is some of the cyber crimes. People are buying things online. They're using credit cards, things of that nature. People have stuff stolen off their property when they see packages sitting there and left for the day. Some thieves try to take advantage of that, and there's a host of things that we do investigate this time of the year that we don't see as often other times of the year.
Okay, so as far as, you named quite a few different things, but like let's just jump into it. The credit cards and stuff like that and the cyber, is there a way Groton police suggest people protect themselves?
Well, I'll let Rich talk about it, but we common sense precautions, but when we talk about that sort of crime, there's some specialized training he's got and some suggestions he can have for people.
Okay. One of the things I want to talk about is making electronic payments. Something as simple as putting your hand over the keypad when you type in your PIN number will make it so nobody can see your PIN number. Once somebody has your PIN number, you may become a target because now they can use that card to then make cash withdrawals from ATMs.
So when you're at the store, when you're at the ATM, just holding your hand over it, blocking the view from somebody else?
Correct.
Okay.
And that would allow anybody to go to an ATM now and use your card once they are able to steal it from you, and that's why I say you might become a target at that point.
Right.
If you steal an ATM card and you don't have a PIN, you're stuck kind of making point-of-purchase sales, and we can more easily catch people doing that. And once they have that ATM PIN code, they can now go get cash, and it might be a little more worth it for them than to go get merchandise. Without a PIN code, in some cases, they can do that. Okay.
And now, what about those? You'll have to explain this to us, but electronic crime, like how does that work? The whole stealing of somebody's credit card when it's not in person. How does that actually happen?
So credit card numbers are widely available on the black market, dark web rather, and what we need to do is very closely monitor our credit and debit card statements. The quicker you catch something, the less money and charges apply on your account, which affect your credit. Clearly it affects the money in your bank account as well.
Right.
So something as simple as monitoring every day can minimize the damage if you were to have a compromised number.
Okay.
And these things are for sale for just cents on the dark web.
Oh, wow.
For people that know how to get them. The ways that people get them, we have credit card skimmers. It's a device that goes in, say, a gas pump, and it actually reads your card information.
Right.
There's ways you can check for those. Just give it a little wiggle. If that thing is loose, you might want to let the attendant know and try a different machine.
So it's something that, say you pull up to the gas station and somebody has put one there, it's not obviously known to that station. Somebody has gone in there and kind of put this in that particular gas pump.
Correct.
So it's just wiggle it?
And the devices have evolved, but so has the security measures.
Okay.
Now they put seals on the gas pumps themselves. You'll see sometimes a red seal, and it'll either be initialed or stamped somehow. Wow. And if you see that seal, it's usually a little strip that goes over either the keyhole, because now they're putting the devices inside that you can, the criminals are using Bluetooth to get the information from these little tiny hard drives that are actually storing your information without actually putting a device on the outside. So those are a lot less common now, and now it's the way they get inside. And if you see a broken seal, and they're very easy to spot, they're going to be right on the machine, on the gas pump. If you see a broken one, don't use it and alert the attendant. That means somebody may have gone inside and put one of these devices in there that's stealing information.
Okay. So is it best to just avoid that? Is it best to, I don't want people to be scared, but, you know, are we going back to
just
cash?
use common sense precautions. You know, we're dealing with a lot of different crimes today that we didn't deal with years ago. I mean,
Definitely.
there's still robberies and burglaries, but the frequency of those has changed a little bit because it's much easier to do what Officer Savino was talking about, which is someone can make a lot of money and maybe not even get noticed for a while.
Right.
Where they're skimming, they're taking a little bit of money off of a bunch of people's different cards, and when they read their statement, you may see a small charge on there that you really aren't familiar with and can't
Right.
remember, and that's what people need to be attentive to.
Oh, okay. So the small, it's not a big, huge charge. It could be small charges, frequent, that like just amongst a bunch of different cards.
Could be both.
Wow. Okay. So that's kind of freaky, but I'm glad you talked about that. And that's also known as what they call electronic pickpockets.
That is actually something different.
Okay.
That applies to, I'm just going to show a quick picture here.
Okay.
See that little symbol looks like a Wi-Fi
Yeah.
kind of wavelength going on. So if your credit or debit card has one of those, that means that it is equipped with a radio frequency identifier. What it is, it's almost like a small, almost looks like a little maze, and it's made out of a shiny metal. If you were to open the card up and see it, what it does is it allows a special frequency to be read, which has the information. So the devices, have you ever gone to pay with a credit card and you just tap it? So you don't actually insert it, you don't swipe
seen
it,
that,
but
yeah.
you just tap it. Pay at the pump also has
Yes.
it. You just tap it on there. What that is reading a radio frequency.
Ooh.
So that is how your credit card information is getting from your card to the payment device.
But
But that means that there are criminals with readers out there too. So if they go to your back pocket where your wallet may be, or your purse where your phone may be, and they come close enough, it's usually either direct contact or an inch or two away.
oh, wow.
They can pick up that radio frequency signal.
Oh, wow. So
And-
especially when it's more crowded this time of year and there's more people out and about, you might get bumped into, you might not even think twice about it.
It is possible. I'm guessing it's pretty rare.
Okay.
But it is possible. And what they do is they get the information. They can have your number, your name, your expiration date, everything. Everything that radio frequency identifier has for information in
Okay.
it. So what you can do to prevent that is this device here is just a RFID protection sleeve.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I've seen a lot of those.
Yep.
And I wasn't really sure what they were about.
So people use those for military IDs, use them for credit and debit cards with that RFID. And what it does is it allows, or it
Protects
restricts the communication between the card inside the sleeve and any device trying to read that.
And where can
And
somebody get one of those?
They're just a couple bucks. Target, Walmart, Amazon, anywhere
Really? Okay.
you want to buy one, they're just a couple bucks or a few bucks.
Great. Thank you for that. That's huge knowledge. So along those lines, and I know it's the criminals are just technology savvy, online shopping. And like, are there any precautions we should be telling our community, our friends in the community?
You want to go to trusted sites. You want to use, if it's obscure and they're asking way too much personal information, you probably don't want to use that vendor. You might want to find somebody else that you're familiar with. Certainly, make sure that when you're making purchases, you don't provide more information than you need to, because we do have identity theft. People try to get more information out of people than they really need to give up.
True, very true. So with that, in Christmas time, everybody tries to come up with great ideas, like buying tickets for somebody. Craigslist used to be a thing. Craigslist, I'll buy him tickets to a Celtics game or something. So is that still an issue, or is that kind of gone to the wayside?
What we do at our department is we have an area designated in the front parking lot that if someone uses Craigslist or some other online shopping, they should go to a place they're familiar with, and usually a police department.
Yeah.
Sure. If you're going to do a transaction, you do it in person, face to face.
Yes.
We're better than the front parking lot of a police department.
Correct.
And we have a section in our front parking lot where people can do that.
Is it designated just for that?
Yes,
That's
and
wonderful.
what that does is not only makes them feel safe, but if someone's going to sell a fraudulent gift card or something else, whatever
Yeah.
you're looking to buy, the chances are they're not going to want to go to the police department to do it. So if they balk at that, then I would say that's a clue not to do
then you're
business
like,
with them.
Okay, don't do that. And that kind of goes along with, and I happen to know a lot of people do it, is Facebook has selling sites now. There's a lot of people who meet and greet and just Groton, but all of southeastern Connecticut. And I think you're not the only town who has, the only station that has these designated areas, is that correct?
I would, whether you have a designated area or not, usually if it's a public place like that, public building, police station, fire station, somewhere, where there's a
Right.
strong likelihood of people being there, that someone's not going to want to make that transaction in a public place like
And you
that.
probably shouldn't be inviting them to your home for
Right,
that transaction
right.
either, right? Okay, I just want to put that out there. We've had a lot of great information. I wanted to talk to you guys more about all of this, because it's not just the technology end of it, but how much do we have to worry about, last thing is the fraudulent holiday products? Like, how much is that an issue? Other than the Craigslist and that, like the online stuff, how can you kind of check that?
Again, you want to go to trusted sites. You want to go to places that aren't so obscure that you've never heard of them before. Go to the vendors and the stores that you're familiar with. Usually, if they're fraudulent, then you're going to get them from some third-party vendor.
Okay.
I always, people use Amazon a lot.
Yeah.
They use eBay. So I would check and do some research
Stick with
when
the
you're
main
looking at them.
ones.
I
Okay.
don't know if you want to add to that, Rich.
Definitely agree with the trusted sites. For the Facebook market, for example, take 5 minutes to snoop through that person's
Right.
profile. If their profile is public, then they've got a little bit less to hide, and maybe you can find out a little bit about that person and get a sense on whether you trust what they're selling.
Oh, definitely. I happen to know my bank in town will call me if my daughters like to have certain items and that are more trendy, and I happen to find them sometimes from the UK, and I'll try and buy them. If of course it's not during working hours, so it's not when my bank's open, and they'll like just say, nope, you're not buying this. But I hear about it like a day or two later, and have this whole your account has been possibly, and I'm like, okay, so it's more about the site, the fact that it's not a known site.
Sure.
And something that's more obscure, little. I know the UK and China were two of the ones my bank told me were ones
Stay
that they
away.
just say no.
Yeah, another thing that just came to mind. We do a lot of traveling during the holidays, so sometimes
Yeah.
people will go visit loved ones, and they'll
yeah.
try to make purchases in other states.
Oh yes.
Call the credit card company before you travel and
Yes.
say, "Hey, I'll be going to this place." And many of the credit card companies now will call you if they see a charge that maybe
yeah.
looks a little bit odd. They'll contact you. Because they've got skin in the game. They typically have to reimburse the person who has the credit card when there's some fraudulent purchase. So they want to make sure that they guard against that as well.
All right. That's a great point, Chief. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk more about holiday safety. And thank you guys again for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Hello again, and welcome back to Groton. We are here today with Chief Fusaro and Officer Savino talking about holiday safety. We were just talking about traveling at the holidays and safety precautions you can do. What's one thing you can do before you even hit the road?
Well, first, because I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, don't drink and drive. If you're going to
Definitely.
drink, designate a driver, be safe. We do see more accidents during this time of the year. And a lot of them are the result of people going to parties and
A lot more, yeah.
events. So just be cautious, be prudent. I'm very proud of the efforts that our officers make in the town of Groton with our DUI enforcement. So we wouldn't be saddened too much if we had less DUI arrests and accidents this holiday season. I can tell you that for sure.
Definitely.
But make sure if you're traveling, contact your neighbors. That's really the best security measure you can have. Let them know when you're leaving, when you're going to be back. If there's any cars parked in the driveway, they can also call the police department and ask for us to conduct patrol checks if people are going to be away for a while.
Okay.
Don't let mail or newspapers pile up because someone driving through may see that.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity. Someone sees that as,
They're
hey,
like,
there's
hey,
no one home.
yeah.
Lights on,
The timers and all that.
Yep. Have people check on the house, but really neighbors are the best.
Neighbors.
Letting them know that you're not going to be there to keep an eye on the house. Right now, because of technology, one of the advantages that we have is that there are a lot of low-cost security systems and camera systems that are out there. So that's something people might consider as well.
I've heard a lot of good things about those. But with technology also comes the social media. And one thing that we're always telling everyone across the way at the senior center is, if you're going away, please do not put on social media that you're going away.
Great point.
Don't let everyone, even if you have it marked for private, please don't, because your neighbor might tell somebody else who might tell somebody else. Yeah.
That's true.
So if you're going to tell anybody, tell you guys.
That's right. Give us a call if you would like patrol checks. Our officers, we have a list. You call our desk officer and we'll go out and do patrol checks while our officers are out there doing their regular duties. But yeah, that's exactly it. Don't tell people, certainly don't broadcast it out on social media that you're not going to be around, because again, that's another opportunity that someone may take advantage of to go to your home and steal things, burglarize the house, and we want to avoid that.
Yeah, as you both said earlier, these criminals are a little more savvy than what they used to be, and it's the technology. With that, the ability to watch your house while you're not there, that's kind of cool. Can we go back to the packages being delivered?
Sure.
And people, kind of that whole area of the crime?
We, there are a lot of products out there right now, doorbell, cameras, battery-powered camera systems. In fact, last year we helped out with a case that involved someone very close to us that observed someone going to their home, taking packages off the front porch, and
and you're watching the whole thing.
Watch the whole thing, but and we're able to make an arrest quickly by identifying that. So, so those are useful tools. 10, 15 years ago, it was cost prohibitive to get those. It was very expensive. Today, people can buy them, and it's relatively inexpensive, and it networks to your phone and your home Wi-Fi. So they're pretty user friendly.
Yeah, I saw somebody the other day who had it right on her phone. So that's crazy. If somebody doesn't have this, and they realize that packages, they got an email later, oh, your packages were delivered, there's no packages, what should they do?
Contact the police. If they think something was stolen, contact the police, and we'll go out and investigate.
Okay.
Yep. And confirm, usually with Amazon and eBay and all those online sites, they'll provide you a tracking number. So you're able to get on there and find out exactly where it was and who had it last. So. But if they think it was stolen, please contact us. Okay, perfect. Also, kind of with your front door situation, how about door-to-door salesmen? Is that permitted in Groton? It is. If we do issue vendor permits for people that are out doing vending, but we don't see as much of that anymore as we used to in years past. So not the guys selling the vacuums and stuff? Much less frequent. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so we also have the question of thefts from cars. When you have stuff in your car and that's stolen, what can be done to prevent that?
It seems every year you hear that story about the Christmas present stolen from somebody's car. The fact is, if you simply just hide your valuables, it's extremely rare for a criminal to break a window to enter a car unless there's something he sees that he wants. So if you simply put the presents in the trunk or put your purse in the trunk, leave your, don't leave your purse out. If they see something they like, you may have your window broken. However, criminals most likely are gonna pull on your door handle. And if your door's unlocked, then they're gonna rummage through it. If your car's locked and there's no valuables in sight, they're just gonna move on. And speaking of the holiday season, when parking lots are full. They're packed full.
Yes.
It's
There's a whole slew of them to pick from,
absolutely.
right?
And they can just, check 100 cars in a very short amount of time. And any car that's open, your change is going to be gone, number one.
Yeah.
And if there's any valuables out, those are going to be gone
Yeah,
as
your
well.
technology, gadgets, don't
So
leave them out.
the large
and about.
piece of advice is simply lock your vehicle and hide your valuables, and most likely you're going to be okay.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. That's awesome. What about the charities? There's so many charities this time of year. I know myself, I get probably every other day in the mail looking for money, and I try to give, but it's so much. And then you're getting the phone calls too. What can we tell our community on how to best, I don't want to say protect yourself, but be aware of?
Well, there's a lot of predators out there. I hate to use that word, but there are people that prey on others and take advantage of good causes. Again, try and educate yourself. Do some research. Check the validity of it on the internet. Make phone calls. Ask for information from the people that are doing that. And if they're not willing to provide you with additional information, then they're probably not legitimate. But there are a lot of individuals who target certain segments of our population to try and take advantage of them and to get the credit card information and bank data that Officer Savino was talking about a couple minutes ago. So verify it. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that, Rich.
That's all I would say about that.
Yeah. Okay. So, how about personal protection? Pepper spray, mace, those things. I mean, we don't want to be walking around thinking we have to be on guard all the time, but should people be carrying these things?
My first suggestion is when you bring a weapon or some type of thing into an environment, there's always going to be one, so it can always be used against you as well. So you've got to, your best bet is to try and avoid situations where there's going to be some type of confrontation, or if you don't feel safe in an area, leave.
Okay.
That's the best recommendation. Or if something happens, call 911. In many cases, we encourage people to be the best witness they can be. So if they see something, they report it to us. If they see, illegal behavior or something that makes them feel unsafe, or they expect or anticipate something happening, to call the police. If it's an emergency, to call 911. Officers are trained to intervene in those situations. The general public really isn't. So we don't encourage people to put themselves in a situation where they could get hurt.
Make it worse. So kind of along those lines, we have a lot of stores, a lot of employees who, that might be their part-time job. They're working later hours because everybody's in holiday hour mode. Some of the stores open till 11 midnight. Are there extra things that in Groton we do, from the police department's perspective, to provide protection for, or can people do a little bit of their own, preventive measures?
The answer to both questions is yes. We put on some extra patrols, particularly for the retail areas where we have some officers that are identified to just go out and check those and do some patrol checks and stop in at the businesses to make sure that things are going well. But if for people that are, if you're parking your car, park it in a well-lit area. Right. If you're leaving because you're working at a business, make sure that you have a buddy or have someone to go walk with you. Yep. And keep your coworkers informed of any issues you've had with patrons.
Right.
If there are people that came in and they were upset about something, that way if they come back, you're a little bit more aware of what's happening.
Yeah. Okay. 'Cause, we all are like, oh yay, we're open longer, but then I think about the poor employees who are leaving late at night, and it's just them leaving. So thank you for addressing that. I want to go back to the DUI. So DUI, we have a lot more parties, get-togethers, functions, more reasons to celebrate. The Uber and the lifts, should we be using those? Is that something that's happening a lot in Groton?
Yes, it happens all over the area.
Is it safe?
It is safe. There's an exception to every rule, but as a general rule, they're a better alternative than someone driving under the influence. So if someone goes to a party and maybe they've had more than they should have, and they say, you know what, rather than get behind the wheel of my own car, I'm going to make a phone call and I'll get a ride home. Whether it's through one of those organizations or through a friend or family member, definitely the better way to go. We want people to have a good, happy holiday season. But many times this time of the year is filled with tragedies too, where you hear a story about someone who was involved in a DUI accident or something happened, and it turns what's supposed to be a joyous and enjoyable time of the year into something that people remember for years to come for being everything but joyous and memorable.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of the holiday season, we just had No Shave November. Can you guys address that? What's No Shave November about?
I'll let you field that one.
No Shave November has been going on for, I believe, a few years now. It's the first time we've been a part of it.
Okay.
We're pretty excited about it because there's something just about not having to do something you've done every day of your life since you've been working here.
Right.
And that would be not shaving. So right now we are one of the top fundraisers in the entire state for the cause. It is
That's excellent.
our proceeds go to the Connecticut Cancer Foundation.
Okay.
And they have a $50,000 goal.
Awesome.
And I believe that's met.
And so you guys will do this again next year and following years, Chief?
Well, it's a great cause, yeah. So anything that we can do to support a good cause, I think, is good. And the officers have been really excited about it. And,
I think it's a really nice, feel-good community thing, and everybody kind of gets involved in it. And you know, there's a lot of jokes that happen, but also I think it's just a really good quality thing that you are, you know, having the whole community be part of, even if they're not being part of the No Shave November. I think they're kind of cheering the guys on. So.
Well, and there's some internal competitions between who can grow the longest beard.
Oh,
in the
wow,
show, so
okay.
We'll see how that works out.
That's funny. So if somebody wanted to reach out to Groton Police Department, non-emergency, but still it's a question that needs to only be directed to you, who do they reach out to?
They should call our routine number. It's 860-441-6712.
Okay.
But certainly if it's an emergency or you know somebody's in crisis for some reason, health-wise, or if there's a crime that's being committed, or if there's something that they need to report immediately, 911 is the way to go.
Okay. Okay, great. I appreciate it. Do you guys have a website?
We do. We're on the town website, but we also have a Facebook site and Twitter sites. You know, Officer Savino is one of the key players with that to make sure we put out information to the community and receive information too.
Great.
So you can go to our Facebook or Twitter sites.
Okay, perfect.
And certainly if there's forms or reports that you need, some of those are accessible through the internet on our website as well.
But probably best not to. If you have an emergency question, do not do it through the social media. Just call 911.
Absolutely not. In fact, on both of those, it says that they're not monitored 24/7. So if it's something urgent that we need to know about right away, that's not the method to use. It's either calling 911 or getting in contact with an officer on the field.
Okay, perfect.
We do often get these calls, and I remind people very often that this is not a 24/7 monitored website. Although our most immediate news will probably appear on our Facebook first, because we have a few officers that are able to post stuff on there. But I definitely would mention the message board is not monitored 24/7. And if you have an immediate issue, whether it's an emergency or not, definitely call in the numbers that Chief provided.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you both so much. I appreciate you being here. And I think we've addressed a lot in a short bound time. And happy holidays to you both.
Same to you.
Happy holidays to all of you. Thank you for being here today. Welcome to Groton.